We have here a Survey 3 Payload Pod. We want to change the settings on this, so the first thing we're going to do is flip it over and take out these 4 screws. Once we have the 4 screws out, we're going to take off the PCB and reveal here that we have 2 wires plugged in. So next thing we're going to do is remove this piece of foam that keeps the camera stable in flight. After that's removed, you can remove the camera. I suggest flipping it over and taking the camera out that way. The camera should fall out if you flip it over. Once the camera is out, then we can remove these 2 cords from the side of the camera. This will give us access to this mini USB port that we'll use to power the camera and get to the settings. Take a standard mini USB to USB-C to USB-A adapter. Plug this into the side of the camera, and then now we can plug this in to a power source and access the settings on the camera. You can access the settings of the Survey 3 by pressing this button in the bottom right hand corner. Once you access this, you can reveal settings such as shutter, exposure, and ISO. These are the 3 settings that you're going to be changing most often on your camera to get the best quality photos. The default is a shutter of 1/500th of a second. The default exposure is 0.0. The default ISO is 50. To change a setting, simply click on that setting's icon. From there, you only have to scroll up or down to change the setting. Make sure your desired setting is highlighted in orange, and then press the back button. This has successfully set your setting. To change your exposure compensation, click on the exposure button. Positive exposure compensation values will make your picture brighter. Negative exposure compensation values will make your picture darker. Choose your desired value and then press the back button to set it. To change your ISO value, click on the ISO icon. Lower ISO numbers are better for brighter days, where higher ISO numbers are better for cloudy days. A higher ISO will introduce more noise to your photo, but will make the sensor more sensitive to light and therefore allow you to capture photos in low light settings. Select your required ISO and then click the back button to set it. To reset your camera to default settings, click the cog icon in the bottom left-hand corner. Then swipe right until the last page. Then click on the reset icon. Click OK to confirm resetting to default values. After this, we need to change one setting to make it work with the Xeno. Click on interval and change this from 0.5 seconds to off. Click the back button to save that change, and your camera is at default settings now. Once you've changed your desired settings on your Survey 3 camera, we're going to reinstall it into the Payload Pod. To do this, we first connect the 2 connectors on the PCB back into the camera. We use the top 2 connectors of the camera, this one and that one. Connect the corresponding connectors on the board into your camera. It's 2 different connectors, so it should be easy not to get them mixed up. Once the camera is firmly installed into the connectors on the PCB, we then flip over the Payload Pod. After the 2 cables are connected to your Survey 3, we're going to reinstall it into the Payload Pod. To do this, flip over the PCB and the camera. Then insert the camera into the Payload Pod. Make sure that your camera is firmly installed in line with the plastic guides. After your camera is in, replace the foam block. The foam block will keep your camera firmly installed during flight. After this, flip over the PCB and install all 4 screws. And that is how you change the settings on the Survey 3 Payload Pod.